It's time for a cup of red, so let's fill your cup with rad pop culture vibes. And now your over-caffeinated hosts, Mike and Katie. Hey kids, it's another episode of Cup of Rad. And this week, we are going to talk about the new movie Glass and Unbreakable and Split with our RADNESIA segment. But we're going to let you gestate a little bit, soak in some other things that we've been doing till we get to the exciting
main event.
And the main event, because why not? We usually do news.
Yeah, we haven't
really done it for a while
because it was kind of quiet. So.
Yeah.
Well, we were so focused on the holidays and kind of getting back into
it, and just still nothing's really hit. Like London Toy Fair started.
Yeah.
Like the big one will be New York, and that's in February.
Yeah.
So there was a few Funko things that have popped up here and there.
My favorite thing from London Toy Fair is the Little Mermaid pops that showed up from Funko. Because Mermaid Fiend over here, super excited because it's 35th anniversary for Little Mermaid, and so I'm excited to be able to get Eric because I only have the wedding Eric, so it'll be nice to get him as a regular outfit. I will always take another chance to get another Ariel.
Well,
because
she's
this
floating.
one, cool. She's floating with the purse, right?
Yeah.
And that's really awesome. So I'm excited. There are differences.
Yeah,
for sure.
the dress one I really wish they would sparkleize.
Yes.
The one that they got coming out. So
who knows? Maybe they'll change it.
They've changed things.
They've changed things, without even telling people.
Yeah.
So, and that would be a change that would make sense.
Yeah, that was really cool. The 80th Batman stuff's coming out too because it's Batman's 80th birthday.
Yes.
He's still kicking ass apparently. Which I want whatever he's taking. Horse stimulants maybe. But there's some cool ones from that. Definitely pretty awesome. And then
and then the SpongeBob ones.
SpongeBob is getting a new wave.
Yes, I already told Mike I want a giant SpongeBob from Target.
Yes.
I know I won't be able to get it, but the thing would be fantastic.
A 10-inch SpongeBob.
Oh, it would be so cool.
That'd be that would just make your day. You just have to look at it and you'd smile.
Right? It'd be like he would be the starting wonderful happy face on the side table.
Best day ever.
And I've told my sister and my mom about it, and they already want pops. It's fantastic. So
yeah. So that's what's been going right now. We haven't really seen anything else because I think it's just really started the London Toy Fair. So maybe later in the week we'd know more if there's anything cool. So besides that, we dug into some old movies that are new movies to us that aren't really that old because they're from the last year.
But yeah, ones that we kind of delayed watching, we got a chance to be able to rent them
because we got
catching up on the old movies because we were so based on in October it was all about the horror movies, and then all of a sudden November just disappeared, and then it was all about Christmas, so kind of catching up on
so we have the beauty is our library system is really freaking awesome. So some movies that we're really unsure about, we don't have to put any money out because some of them haven't hit Netflix yet or on demand.
Yeah, exactly. So then not spending anything on something is great.
Makes it even more fantastic.
Right. So our first one that we had rented was Skyscraper. And I normally
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson stars as a man against a tower in Tower of Inferno,
which we have decided just looks like a Die Hard script.
Die Hard Light.
Yeah, it was just Dwayne Johnson playing John McClane.
Yeah.
In a lighter version of it, right? And which was cool, actually. I mean, I was interested in the movie to begin with. I love The Rock, but the trailer showed so much, it did kind of like, okay, well, what is going to be new from it? I wasn't sure about it.
Yeah, there even wasn't that much new from it when we watched it. There was no real big surprise, really.
No, but I really did enjoy the movie. I mean,
it was a great comedy.
Yeah, we did laugh a lot, actually, didn't we? The holy shit, what did he just do? So that was pretty awesome, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a fun little...
Just a silly little action
popcorn flick.
Our son, actually, because he's decided he also likes The Rock, and so he wanted to see it, and we figured, why not? It can't be bad, and I think
he laughed.
Yeah, he laughed, he enjoyed it, he thought it was fun and ridiculous, so...
Yeah, it was a fun little flick. It wasn't like... I'm glad we didn't go to theaters.
Yeah, I could have rented it on, on demand type thing, but at the same time, library of course was better. But definitely,
because it was over the top ridiculous. Like some of the stuff, it was like eye rolling how ridiculous it was. There was a great setup there. Yeah, but it just the execution was flawed, and I think the marketing. Last year's marketing, I say, was the biggest villain of 2018. Yep. So.
Oh, and by the way, I think it's all good to know now that we can climb on the outside of a glass building using duct tape.
Yes.
Things you don't think about the duct tape can do is help you scale a glass building.
It patched a wound. Yeah. And you can scale a building. So you know what I'm doing this weekend?
I mean,
wrapping duct tape on my hand and climbing up those walls.
Because that's amazing, right? I mean, you never knew what you could do.
Now, if I fall, I'm sorry, Dwayne, but it's your fault because you told me I could do it.
Like what Ethan Hunt here needs, like fancy special suction cup things.
Yeah, with no explanation of what they were, so they were like mystical to you.
Right? And then The Rock just is like, no, I got duct tape on my hands.
Right? What there's like a good 100-pound difference between Ethan Hunt and The Rock.
No big deal. Duct tape is super strong. It's like super special duct tape. So, lessons learned.
Right.
So next up, we watched Isle of Dogs.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
We did. I still don't really 100% know what the movie truly was about.
It was interesting.
Like
it was funny. It was weird. It was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to have watched it. And our son loved it.
Oh, yeah, he loved it. He almost said that he thinks it was better than Into the Spider-Verse, which blew my mind.
Which it kind of hurt, actually, to hear him say. I'm like, don't respond.
It's super artsy, and I can respect that he's saw, hopefully, the art.
He appreciated the uniqueness of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming. Hey,
yeah. Well, and the fact that, there's so much of it that wasn't in English.
Yeah.
That he was able to still appreciate that wasn't like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah.
He still stayed focused on the movie and on...
Yeah. Well, I guess it helps with all the Sentai we watch.
Exactly, right? So it's good to show on a cognitive level that he's, absorbing it. But
yeah, so I got it. In Canada, it was only rated PG. We found out later it was PG-13, so dad mistake. But there was anything that bad in it. No. There was a few talk about suicide and some blood.
Well, there was all the mating
stuff.
Funny, but he never questioned it at all, right?
Because I honestly do think that it was more enjoyable as a crafted art film than maybe Disney's sequels that are up for awards. Which was surprising for me to say.
Yeah.
Because we also just recently rewatched Incredibles 2.
Yes.
Which I still enjoyed, but I found myself a little bored because I realized so much more how much it's basically The Incredibles just swapped.
Yeah.
There's not much new there.
There's not really crafted storytelling there. No. It is just a very generic film, quite honestly. Yeah. The Isle of Dogs, again with the Spider-Man, of course, it's a very well-developed story and a unique thing to express. Yeah. And
there's that one part in it too where the dogs go into the incinerator thing, and we're just like, did they just kill off four of the dogs?
Yeah, we didn't know. We're like, they just up and disappear. We're like, really? Holy shit! Did this actually just happen?
Yeah, we're just waiting for our son to say anything. We're just like, we'll just see what happens. And then they showed up, and then it was all okay. But yeah, definitely was a fun, weird, quirky flick. It was his first foyer into a Wes Anderson movie.
Yes, that was
so. And
it was a Wes Anderson movie.
Yeah, and that was cool because the other day when I was walking him to school, I was hearing kids talk about being able to watch the Happy Time Murders. Then some of the kids were in his class.
I'm not okay with that.
And our kiddo is under 10.
Yeah.
And I understand everyone has their own parenting technique, which is all, but the stuff I've heard about the Happy Time Murders, which I've got that set on hold, so we will watch it when we get it from the library, but it was a little bit like, whoa.
I wouldn't even be okay with him watching the trailer.
Exactly.
The trailer was so far beyond anything I'm okay with him watching. I'm sorry, I'm mortified with the idea that someone under 10 could possibly watch that movie.
And so, but it was kind of like I'd rather show him something that's more art.
Yeah.
And then he can appreciate, and maybe he can start understanding more versus just seeing some crude humor that has no real substance to it.
Yeah. The Happy Time Murders has its place. It's just vulgar humor.
Yeah.
But that's for adults to understand that that's comedy.
Exactly. And I think that's something that could be missing a little bit. That movie got nominated for a Razzie. The director got nominated for a Razzie, and she got nominated for a Razzie. All for that film. So it tells you where...
that's where it lies.
Yeah, it lies as one of the worst movies of the year.
Yeah.
But definitely, if you want something quirky and you like that stop motion animation style, How the Dogs was fun.
Yeah, it was an interesting story, and you felt for the characters.
Yeah, totally weird.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good. And then the last one?
We watched The Big Sick finally.
Yes.
We've been wanting to watch that, and we just never got around to it.
Yeah. And I didn't know what to expect from it.
Yep.
I knew the general basis of the story, but I didn't have any expectations for anything. And I really enjoyed it.
It was really well done.
Yeah.
It was engaging through the whole thing. And the humor wasn't lowbrow.
No. Well, and you know what? It was not a traditional romantic comedy in the sense that I never was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? There was no, complete cliches of over the top, like extreme emotions.
Yeah.
The girl, Emily, she definitely, somewhat of an overreaction, but at the same time not, and just more of a real life feel. And she had a legitimate reason for it. And it was an interesting turnaround. And to see her parents and what they were going through, and then to see how much he did to help her parents.
Yeah.
Go and cope with her sickness along with almost their marriage and their life.
Yeah.
At the same time, it's impressive how it shows that for them, they were so broken that spending that much time together in a crisis situation actually can help them break through. And
right.
the reality that's what it does to people.
Yeah.
Right.
Brings people together if you've got a good support network to be able to help you through it.
Yeah. And that it didn't end, it did end on a happy note, but not in the same wrapped up pretty bubble that you thought it was going to end.
Exactly.
Like something more Hollywood would have done.
Yeah. They left in, then they just showed you some real photos, and then from those real photos you saw that they got married, and
exactly. That it felt more real life. That it wouldn't have been just like, oh, okay, yeah, everything's great. I totally forgive you for everything. It was all weird, and that it does take time to recover from that. And I was pleasantly surprised.
It was. I really thought it was a great film. Like, it was really well done. So definitely something to check out if you're wanting kind of a comedy drama romance.
Yeah.
Light romance.
Well, yeah, and there was a little bit of everything. Okay, and then what else?
Well, TV has come back in some form.
Riverdale. We watched one episode so far as of recording this, the first one that came back. And what the...
Donkey balls.
So at the end of that, oh my goodness.
Like, this season of Riverdale, like, I loved the first season. The second season got a little long in the tooth. I still enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And then this season, they were just like, how can we just mess everything up? How can we change every core being of what we... Hey, I don't know, maybe let's not really have them in high school anymore. And Archie's on the lam. And now we're back from hiatus. And Grizzly Bear attacks Archie.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So, like, I want to know, I'm excited for this week's episode here, next coming up.
Right.
I want to know what's going on, but the idea of not knowing about this whole Gargoyles and Griffins game and knowing the history behind, and knowing about what the freaking farm is.
The farm.
I want to know what's going on with this. It's driving me nuts. I'm glad we figured out everything to do with the sisters Mercy or whatever.
Yeah.
It's sad that now they're all, but at the same time not. They were all horrible people.
But like that was how they dealt with that thread. They're like, what do we do with all these nuns? We kill them.
We kill them. They're all gonna. Yeah. And there's so many questions, and I am afraid we're going to get to the end of it, and it's not really going to feel satisfying.
I don't know. It'd be weird.
How are they going to come back?
But every season has been kind of contained, so the story is going to have to be contained, but it's going to have to be a matter of how they contain it.
There's a lot to wrap.
But I honestly don't know how they're going to bring Archie back, because they said he was dead.
Yeah. Well, did they actually say he was dead, or did it just look as if he was dead?
He looked like he was dead.
He looked like he was pretty darn dead. But and then the whole thing with Veronica, if Archie does come back, how that is going to...
Well, I guess that'll cause the feud with Reggie.
Yeah, because right now there hasn't really been a feud idea, right?
Yeah.
So, but he totally deserves it. Reggie's been there for her, and Archie just up and for her side. So,
peace out.
You know what? I don't really feel bad. Reading wise, I've been back reading my Bombshells, my DC Comics Bombshells books. I had gotten some for Christmas. I really like the styling of them, and so I've been kind of catching up on those, and those have been super fun. And I'm on volume 3 again right now.
Yeah, you really like that series. The art in it is fantastic. I like the styling of it. Like, whenever we see the statues, it's just a fantastic looking. It's Elseworlds Tale that's done correctly, I think. Yeah. By crafting a world using the characters, but also being like, well, this is our own world. We don't have to play by any other rules. Yeah. Well, right? Honestly, the core beings of the heroes are still the same. Yeah. And that's, I think, what's great with them is they're not totally opposite. And I love how all the different heroes and villains have showed up. So far it's so many of them. Riddler showed up, and Killer Frost and the Penguin. Hugo Strange just showed up. He decided he was going to be trying to steal genes from people and try to create a master race, essentially, over in the America there. So,
it's an interesting story with that. And then Arthur Curry just showed up and saved Mara, so that was a cool nod. So
so that's cool though. It's like
it's a different style of things, and I love pinup style. I love that era and that fashion aspect, and they're all strong women though, so it's a perfect combination of it that you can still appreciate that style, and it's not anything weaker for them or anything.
Yeah, I wish the Funko's rock candy would bring out more of the Bombshells.
More of them. Yeah,
they've only got the Batwoman, which we never got.
We have the Batgirl, we have Harley, and we have Wonder Woman.
Yeah, and we weren't able to get the Poison Ivy because that was an Emerald City Comic Con.
Yeah, I want Catwoman, I want Zatanna. Those would be really awesome. Right. And I definitely want Mara.
I think the Raven looks really cool.
And the Raven looks really cool, yeah. Lois has shown up recently too. She's actually only like a 16, 17-year-old girl. She's a teenager.
Oh, okay, because she's the newsie, right?
Yeah, so but yeah, I'm really liking it.
Nice. So yeah, I haven't been reading anything right now. I'm kind of dry.
Yeah, I haven't. I took forever to read my last novel here so I'm just kind of binging through some graphic novels at the moment until I pick another novel up, because I want to try to focus. Our son, we're trying to read Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, and I'm really excited to want to read that, so I'm wondering if maybe I can get my novel fix with that and try to just get it through, because I was talking to him last night and I was like, there's so many things that I remember from the second part of that movie that I want to know about in the book. I'm really excited about it.
The expanded version.
Oh my goodness, it's taking forever. It's like the movie though. It's like taking forever to get to the exciting parts, and it's driving me nuts. I was like, they're in the forest still. Like, oh my god, how angry can they be at each other? And so I can see now how the movie did fit the book.
That's funny. It'd be interesting once you guys read that to rewatch the movie. And see. I'll be very curious to just watch part 1 and 2 back to back.
Yeah.
We'll book off a Saturday and that's all we'll do.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting, and there's a lot going on in it, and so there's a few times where I have to stop and be like, okay, can you recap what I just read you to make sure that you understood those important parts and things that have dropped, and the oh my gosh moments, and he's doing pretty good for sure, but I'm getting anxious to see it all tied up together, and we've gotten through a lot of this book and not a lot's happened. Like what's happening. So something
else, we have finally gotten we went through the 4th season of Doctor Who.
Yes.
And that was a pretty epic season on that.
Yes.
Donna started out as kind of like she's annoying, but she learned so much more than any other of the companions that we've experienced so far with our watching.
Yeah. She really changed and became a really better person, which made the end of season 4 that much gut-wrenching. Like crying, upset, like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they just had to do this. This is just so very sad.
I still wonder though, is it him taking it away so that she doesn't become a killer?
Yeah. Because of what Davros said to him.
Yeah,
right?
And how his other entity became as well. Like, was that actually what happened? Could he have not just taken away the power? Did he have to take away all the memories?
Yeah. Did he wanted to make sure that, I'm going to save her from being corrupted like the others? I can't do anything about the others, but this one I can do something about.
And that's what I wonder, if that's what he really did was that, because otherwise, it seemed too convenient that he had to erase everything.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, after seeing that, the epiphany of what everyone does for him, they all lay down their life for him, and to really have him appreciate what everyone does for him, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a really epic ending to this.
It was. I'm not one to tear up, and I had my moment of like, damn, this is getting like heavy.
Intense.
Like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
So I'm not prepared at all to say goodbye to David Tennant.
There's still the specials,
but I still have a few specials. But this one was pretty bad for sure.
So what with the fake out regeneration?
Yeah, I'm like, this can't be. What? He's got specials. Like, how are they gonna fit all this in? So
one of the hard things of watching it after, with being new to it and seeing that you still got specials to watch, then you're like, well,
yeah, exactly.
But both of us had that moment of like, well, how
are they really gonna do this?
How is it? What?
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm, as much as I'm sad to, once we get through the David Tennant stuff, I'm curious to see Matt Smith stuff and see where it goes.
Well, I know that there's a lot of huge fans of that version.
Yeah.
And it'll be exciting to see the change. I'm interested to then see how he changes and takes what all he's experienced as Tennant into this new Doctor, and because I saw the change between the 9th and the 10th there, and then like what is he going to bring to it? How is he going to be affected? And so it is going to be interesting to see that. And there's a certain amount of positivity and hope that can come for that, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be a little late to the party on this one because unlike most people in the United States that were able to subscribe to that DC streaming service and get Titans 3.5 months ago, international peeps got it on Netflix this month. Came out on the 11th, and I binge watched it.
Apparently you did.
Yeah, I was really curious about the show. I was leery about the show because I wasn't really a big fan of the designs, and the color palette were really muted. So it wasn't like, I didn't feel like I was missing out a whole lot really when it first came out. But I watched the show and I dug it. It took a bit for me to get into it because as I was watching it, it's not your plucky, happy Truth, Justice, and Pizza Titans kind of feel, right? Like,
I love that explanation, that description of it, by the way. Truth, Justice, and Pizza. Isn't that what we all strive for?
Right? That's especially pizza.
Anyways.
But yeah, so I was kind of taken back by the extreme violence and just the swearing. But as much as that was, there was a lot of great action that happened within the show as well. So as long as I kept in my mind that this was just an Elseworlds tale where things are a little different.
Just take your expectations out of it.
Yeah, I take it the fact that, Grayson in his career is a cop, which technically in the comics he should then be Nightwing.
Yeah, I remember when you told me that, I'm like, what? Isn't that Nightwing?
So it's taking a lot of liberties with the source material, and it's definitely making its own. There's definitely some ties. You can tell that they were also inspired by like Young Justice stuff. Like you can really see that it is written by Jeff Johns because he is a writer on it and producer. So it's kind of its own little thing. But once I got past that in my mind, I was able to wrap my head around that. I really was starting to enjoy it. Except for the fact that everyone kills. Like everyone kills in the show.
Oh wow.
Dick kills, Corey kills, Rachel kills. Like I think Gar's the only one that doesn't kill. Well, actually, by the end, I think he ends up biting guy's throat out with it as a tagger. So they all kill. So that was a little trippy, but I did enjoy it. I found some of it really interesting because there was some really good things in there. And you also have to take that it's a complete almost origin. The only ones that are kind of relatively established really is Grayson. Other than that, everyone's kind of like starting fresh. Like Corey doesn't know who she is. Rachel, which is Raven, is fighting the demons, has no control over anything. Gar doesn't even call Beast Boy in the show until like a slight nod in the final episode of the season, and he can only change into a tiger. He hasn't changed into any other animal.
Oh, so it's just tiger and that's it
as of right now.
Oh wow, okay.
So
he definitely has some
yeah. Hawk and Dove were really cool. Their story was really interesting. It was weird to say that because I never really cared about the characters. So
I remember when they showed up, was it Justice League Unlimited, and we're like, what the fuck are these guys doing here? Like, who cares about them? Right?
It was a weird addition. But yeah, it plays with the mythology and all that, and as long as you can get past there's a pretty decent show in there. The acting is really good. The actress that plays Starfire, I think did a fantastic job, even though she looks nothing like Starfire. Well, it's not that. I shouldn't say that. Let's start that over. She looks like Starfire, but she's not orange. That's my only real complaint. Everything else is fine, but she's orange when she uses her powers.
And sparkly, you said.
Yeah, she's also sparkly, so that was a little weird. But even Gar, he isn't green until he uses his powers.
Oh, okay.
So I'm assuming it's got to be a budget thing.
That makes sense.
We don't want to paint them, spend the 3 hours in the makeup chair. All we got to do it is in post at some point, right?
Yeah, it's definitely easier. That's the chance to have them animated, right? Then
yeah.
You never can have any issues with it, but
right.
It does make a difference.
So I enjoyed it. I'm definitely, with the way that the season ended and all that, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what'll happen. So I hear that the next season is going in filming in March. So because it ended on a pretty big cliffhanger.
Yeah.
So you probably already know that Dick was taken over by Trigon, and if you didn't, spoiler.
You didn't tell me that when you were telling me all about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of a big deal.
So I'm curious to see. It'll probably be another year or so before I get to watch it. But as DC's first outing with their own streaming service, definitely more enjoyable than most of the CW shows.
Well, the CW ones had gotten so tame and boring and more drama-based, not even action.
They got more romance-based.
And yeah, it was romance and like moodiness.
Yeah, it was much more like, I want to kiss you, but I need to brood because I'm a superhero.
Yep, and that's why we stopped watching.
We're still watching Legends of Tomorrow, though.
Because it's not all about romance and brooding.
It's funny.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.
And now on to the main event. This week is basically about M. Night Shyamalan and his comic book trilogy that started almost 20 years ago. But at the time, no one knew that they were really watching a superhero unfold in front of their eyes. Well, here, as we get ready for Glass, the third entry in the series, let's dive into a segment that we like to call RADNESIA! This segment discusses rewatching older movies and asking, do they live up to the rad expectations of our first watchings?
I love that we have a little theme thing going on, like a motto of it. Anyways, okay. On to the main event.
So, Unbreakable. Unbreakable was released in 2000 and starred Bruce Willis and Samuel L. Jackson. Myself, I was excited to see these two share the screen again, as Die Hard with a Vengeance is a brilliant buddy cop action thriller. Willis and M. Night had worked together on the recent paranormal hit The Sixth Sense. The story tells a tale of David Dunn, a man who survives a train crash without a scratch. This draws the attention of his son, who begins to believe his father is a superhero, especially after meeting wheelchair-bound Elijah Price, a man with a very opposite condition. He lives where his bones are seemingly made of glass, and he's trapped in a world made of comics and art and believes Dunn to be a superhero. So at the time, it was a really mind-blowing film because superhero movies had just kind of really started picking up steam with X-Men and Spider-Man. So we were starting to see all those traditional supers. Yeah,
more the bright and shiny and the action and everything of that nature.
And then here came this film, Unbreakable, that didn't seem like it was going to be a superhero film.
Yeah, it just seemed more like a real world,
thrillery, like wonderment of like what was the deal.
Something mysterious,
especially after The Sixth Sense. Everyone thought it was going to be another paranormal film.
Exactly.
So we rewatched it because we were getting ready for Glass.
Yes.
And what was your RADNESIA thoughts?
You know what? I enjoyed it for sure still. It was slow and it took me a moment to kind of remember that it was a different style of film and the age of it for that type of thing. It was a little slow going in the beginning and the okay, come on, get on with it type thing. And then when you kind of step back, you start appreciating the storytelling and the artistic nature of things. Because when you can see it as a whole and unfold, you see the changes, you see the use of the music, the use of the film shots, and you really can start appreciating the movie itself. So
yeah, rewatching it, I really realized how much more. I've watched it many times, but I don't know if it's just getting older, but I was starting to see similarities in some filmmakers' directions. And I see that there's a lot of kind of that Hitchcock feel to this film, with the long tracking shots and the long kind of place shots where there's not necessarily a lot going. You have to look at the actors. We're slowly being taught to watch the background in films and not the actors. And I think that's one thing. But this film was you were having to watch the actors. You actually had to watch. As much as Bruce Willis didn't do a whole lot, you actually had to watch him and his emotion.
Yeah, because
he did have a lot of facial like grit and pain that he was exhibiting from his choices, right?
Well, like I really did, I did appreciate the suspense that it showed with things, with that little bit of like the what's going to happen, like what is it, without sounding, callous, what's the point of what's going on right now,
Yeah.
And then of course back on my first initial thought though, that twist, I didn't really know it when I was younger, right? So I had watched it more recently, had been with you. So I don't know it as well as you had, and I had forgotten about that little, like I knew the gist of it and remembered, but I kind of forgot that twist ending with Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
And holy moly, like that still made me all excited. Like that was cool. So.
Well, it was really played out well because it didn't do your stereotypical superhero thing. It wasn't suddenly this big battle, because there could be no battle, because essentially he could punch his face and he would die.
Yeah, there is no...
Right? Like, it was kind of cool to see that, and see that Mr. Glass really is that kind of that Lex Luthor-y kind of villain that's kind of just...
He manipulates other people, gets other people to do...
Right.
You do something, you know, and set stuff off to happen, right? He's all in the background.
Exactly. So. For me, one thing I did really notice that was a pro from it was the fact that there was the music, and that was something I noticed as well rewatching it this time, was that it's really a silent film when it comes to music. There's a few beats here and there, but it's not until Dunn truly starts accepting that maybe he is a hero.
Yeah, that something is different.
And that's when the music starts to show up more and starts to swell, which was really an interesting... I thought that was really cool usage of it to show that then it went from everything just seems like a normal movie where our soundtrack to life is nothing.
It's nothing, exactly.
And then when something more fanciful happened, then all of a sudden there was music, and it was weird, like a kind of feel. So
it gives you that real definite shift in tone for it, for sure. And then, of course, like the psychological aspect of things, like to see the character of Glass and see how broken he is literally in his mind for such a horrible way to live.
Yes.
And how is he coping with that? And the positive and the negative that can be around living too much in a fantasy world as well.
Yeah.
And not being able to kind of separate that, and you start, questioning it, but you want him to have some sort of peace and solace in his horrible life that he's dealt.
Well, he's so smart, and he knows his art, and it's just sad that he had to go off the deep end because he felt that art imitates life.
Exactly. Too much, right? Yeah. But it's an interesting concept at the same time, with him saying, maybe these are more historical aspects of things, because we do tend to take a real life event and make it more extreme in our art. That's
it's more exciting. You're not going to be like, I saw a car crash. You're like, no, I was there, and this car hit the curb and it flipped and it exploded midair.
Like to exaggerate things. Yeah. So but he really believed that there was only a certain amount of exaggeration with the comics, that these are real people. And so it was interesting, the development of characters, for sure.
Yeah. Do you have anything that you really didn't like about the film on the rewatch?
You know what, I kind of touched on earlier, where it was that quite a bit of slow going build up in the beginning there. Yeah. And as I say, by the end of it, I could appreciate the shots and the change and the film style, for sure. But at first it was a little bit of like oh my God, it's dragging. But that's kind of a rescinded complaint. Right,
but that's part of the psychological drama.
Exactly. So that's now I appreciate it, right? So that was really the only thing that I got a little frustrated about.
Does it really hold up, or is it like, well, you say I don't think it holds up as well.
Because that was a very specific style, like in the little bubble of time. Yeah, he had all of his movies.
Well, also too, it's emulating a style from like the 50s and 60s, right? It doesn't really.
So it feels dated.
Yeah, it feels dated when you watch it, and I think that does hurt it.
Yeah.
I think people forget. It built such a cult status, but I think people actually do forget that it's more of a cinematic.
Well, I mean, as we continue talking about the trilogy here, we could tell that people had forgotten about it. Yeah. And our choices in movies happens and change so fast. I don't want to, at the risk of sounding old or preachy, people will forget to look at the past in any sort of cinematic history feel, or to really appreciate things. And it's not even that old, and yet so many people look at it as it's ancient. Right? Yeah. So then to have a 20-year-old movie emulating something from 50 years ago, then it or plus, it really feels dated. And so I can appreciate that it's a different style of movie, for sure. But
I think that's why it garnered a lot more cult following, because you see it from a different angle, from your different views, right? And what you're looking for in a film. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that I knew that don't like super movies and to this day still don't like superhero movies, but they like that film.
Well, you know what we had talked about this the other day was that fact that it's, you know, you have your DC, you have your Marvel. This is almost like the Image Comics of comic book movies, right?
Yeah.
It's the independent, more gritty, real life, dark and moody. And so that's a certain type of people. Because, I mean, even comic book readers, there's people that will read DC and Marvel, no question. But
the moment you suggest an indie book, right?
It's like, what? That's not comic books heroes, you know?
Yeah.
It's a different form of storytelling, right? And that's all it is, and a different type of a feel for it, and so that's what this movie really represents.
Yeah, exactly. I still love it. It's a great film. Definitely, if you haven't watched Unbreakable, give it a go. It really does.
It is a great movie. It's a great story for sure.
So now, next up on RADNESIA, Split. This movie was released in 2016 and stars James McAvoy. Now, the film, most wouldn't have thought it had anything to do about Unbreakable, because that was a 16-year time gap, a completely different studio. There was no marketing ties to Unbreakable. It was just marketed completely as a story about a man with 23 personalities that was developing a 24th that had kidnapped 3 girls. It looked like a complete...
Yeah, it just looked like a psychological, horror
thriller.
movie.
Yeah. So what was interesting with that was that after you watched it, you found out it was part of that whole universe.
Yeah, the last scene, then all of a sudden you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It matches with Unbreakable.
Yeah, which we'll get into that later in this. But on the rewatch, what was your feeling of the film?
I still love the movie. I've always been really interested in psychological disorders, I guess. I mean, I wanted to be a psychiatrist, psychologist.
That's why she loves me.
Yeah, there's that too. But the idea of a split personality, dissociative identification disorder, I think it is very intriguing to me. And so the idea of the story itself, just on that topic alone, was really interesting. And I was really excited to watch it again. And James McAvoy, I love him as an actor anyway, but I am thoroughly blown away by his performance.
Oh, he did a fantastic job in that film.
I really like that movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He is a marvel to watch in that film.
Because it's not just voices, it's people...
Mannerisms.
It's mannerisms. I mean, that's the whole thing with this disorder is they are completely different people living in one body. And him to be able to not just change the voice, not just change how you speak, his facial expression. You could you could zoom in on his face and see the character that was now coming out.
That he had helped create.
Every single aspect of his whole body would be different.
And that's a brilliance on not only McAvoy but also M. Night and his editing team.
Yes, definitely.
To be able to cut all that together that it feels seamless.
Yeah.
Like it feels like there is no transitions.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
Like it was really well done. What are your thoughts on rewatching?
I really do still like the film. It was a little slower than I remember. I actually felt it slower than Unbreakable.
Weird.
Yeah.
So it shows how much I love the topic that I'm like, yes, this is awesome.
Oh no, but that's one of the things from my first watch though, when we originally watched it, was that as much as I enjoyed it, I went in expecting or assuming, especially because it came from Blumhouse, and they hadn't at that point started breaking into other types of film. They were still strictly a horror company. So it was kind of that bit of that surprise where there was no horror.
Yeah.
Right? It was complete psychological drama.
Yeah, that is true.
And
it was only really horror kind of at the end. But even that, it really was barely anything.
Yeah, exactly.
It was purely psychological, really.
Exactly. So it was a bit slower than I remember, but going back to that, I say that McAvoy's transformation between his characters is fantastic to watch because it's so seamless.
Yeah.
And he brings, you can see that he is an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, Well, it was funny. We actually noticed the other day that he did something and our son kind of imitated it. We're like, wow, he really is a 9-year-old in the... Our kid went to dance, right?
It was perfect, right?
And it looked exactly
just like McAvoy's performance. I was like, okay, yeah, he did a good job. And then the girl as well. She did such a great job of being her performance as well. And you're interested and you're rooting for her, and you really want to see her succeed. And yeah, it was really well done.
Yeah, the thing I think was quite interesting is is that kind of twist feel to it too at the end. Not the Unbreakable connection, but the fact that the 24th personality, the Beast, spares her because she's broken.
Well, yeah, the whole drive of what the Beast is.
Yeah.
Like, the whole reasoning behind him is he's trying to save everyone that is broken and has experienced pain and trauma is what he refers to as pure.
Yeah.
And the idea that you are the next evolution, that you can experience horrible shit and still survive. That means you are more evolved.
Yeah.
Basically, and yeah, it was a really interesting twist for sure.
Exactly. Which is interesting too, is that the Beast itself can't actually sense what it is. He had to physically see that she had that, because he never experienced that until she lost her clothes. Basically.
Exactly, and he could see the trauma on her.
So interestingly, twist-wise on that is that if that other personality, Dennis, wasn't such a clean freak and hadn't kept taking her dirty clothes away from her, the Beast would have never seen it, and then she would have died.
Exactly.
So his own personalities is his undoing on that.
Yeah, because she would have never had any reason to say, well, wait a second, hold on.
Here, let me show you my scars.
Yeah, because she never talked about it, right?
Yeah.
And so the idea that, show just that too, that commentary on how different people can handle their trauma that they deal with, right?
Exactly.
For someone so extreme to have now 24 personalities, and it's interesting too, even with his character, the fact that they did create this Beast. Like, you had 23 personalities already, and then 3 of them essentially mainly teamed up. Really, it was just the one that really decided that was what was going to have to happen. That they had almost a break of their own, like within his broken personalities. It was really an interesting concept. Like, what happened with that, and then you find out the Beast is really essentially
just animals, just
a combination of animals from the zoo that he
works at.
That he could revere, and saw them as strong. You could, that looks like a gorilla. Okay, that looks like a tiger. All those different types of things.
They're really trippy to see in his performance, those movements too, right?
Yeah.
So that was really cool. But yeah, then when we got to the end there with the Unbreakable connection, what was interesting was on the first watch, I didn't notice the music. Like, theater, I didn't notice the music. But
because you hadn't watched Unbreakable, we had no reason to watch Unbreakable, so you would have had no connection.
Exactly.
Right?
So then when you're rewatching it, and you, especially with watching Unbreakable basically a couple nights before, the moment everything has happened and blah, 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 the music starts swelling, and you can hear the Unbreakable music.
Yeah.
And then it goes to that diner, and the music starts swelling, and it's Dunn's theme.
Exactly.
Right? And it's like the holy crap, like,
it was definitely clear.
You see him, and I thought that was really cool. Especially with Glass coming out, I'd read, and it's been on lots of websites, that basically that was something M. Night did. It was kept out of the script, it was kept out of the test. And it was
so he really wanted to keep it under wraps.
He actually even kept it, if I remember correctly, I think he even kept it out of the original screening.
Oh, wow. So
it was released with theatrical screening.
Because it has no bearing on the actual movie itself.
Exactly.
Right? It's like that snippet end credit scene idea. Like, who cares? It doesn't really affect the actual movie.
Yeah, and that's what I think is really cool about Blumhouse, is that Blumhouse was okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think makes them a good, like, I know they've got their crap films here and there, right? But
overall, they've been doing really awesome.
But yeah, they have a bit of a, hey, you're a creator, as long as you work within the budget I give you, then go for it. Have fun.
Yeah, they have appreciation of a creator's vision and artistic expression.
Yeah, and I think for a company to say, sure, keep that hidden, keep that out of the screening, like the initial review screening.
Well, they appreciate the shock value that they know is not going to be there. It would be so easily be leaked. Oh yeah, and then you're going to ruin it for millions of people.
Well, that's what's hard about social media sometimes, is that you get those moments where you want to keep some things hidden.
Yeah,
and we even just talked about this recently, that we pick and choose what movies we spoil.
I know, right?
But sometimes some things are so awesome you just want to talk about them, so your listeners risk of spoiled. But
yeah, if you stuck around for this is the 15th episode, you probably figured that out.
But we try not to. We don't do it on social media.
That is true. We don't
do it on social media, and that's where it happens, is social media.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of things can get ruined, and that's why I think films went from being Friday night to now Thursday night, like
to now Wednesday or something.
Sometimes they show up on Wednesday.
Like Captain Marvel, it actually, so many of the places are advertising as released on the 7th.
Yeah,
it's like, no, it's released on the 8th, but it's this weird. But no, it really is in our reality. It's released on the 7th. That's when you can start seeing it. And so, like, when is it gonna?
it's
start
that
pushing
wonderment
more and more.
when is it gonna when are we gonna see it when the premiere happens?
Yeah.
Like, is it gonna start being like the premiere happens at 7 p.m. in Hollywood or wherever they do it, and then literally, bam, it's in the theater the next, like, at midnight or something,
Right?
Like, so that we can avoid all spoilers.
I don't know.
But on that, your final thoughts on Split?
I still really love it.
Yeah.
I love the concept and the story behind it. I love the psychological aspect. I love James McAvoy's performance.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it. So I recommend watching Unbreakable first and then Split if you haven't
Because
seen
you have
either
the
of them.
ability to, yeah.
Right? So definitely check them out as a pair for sure. And now we move on to Glass. Film came out this year, 2019, in January here. Stars Bruce Willis, James McAvoy, and you guessed it, Samuel L. Jackson. Quote from the film is Mr. Glass saying, "The bad guys are teaming up." The official plot is listed as security guard David Dunn tracks down a man with 24 personalities. The trailers showed them all locked up by a doctor played by Sarah Paulson, and then Samuel Jackson's Glass freeing the beast. Is this a film we got?
On the basis of it, yes. But it was the conclusion. It was the Unbreakable. It was Split merging together and seeing all of this twist together and kind of spill out all over of what Glass really. It was really about his
Journey.
His broken mind and the mastermind that he has become, and the pulling of the strings and putting everyone together, and these weird things that have fallen into place. And I really was impressed on the stories that this world that he had created, that he so seamlessly blended together in this movie.
Yeah, it really did show that he was a mastermind.
Yeah.
And that his mind was his weapon. His body is frail, but his mind was his weapon. And it showed it not just for thinking on the fact of manipulation, but also that he was a genius for other things.
Yeah.
Technical and all that.
Technical, computer whiz, willpower in general.
Yeah.
Like, holy moly.
Yeah.
I was impressed by that as well. And of course, Samuel Jackson is a fantastic actor.
Yeah, it's amazing to see how much emotion and how much everything you could get from a catatonic Samuel Jackson in a wheelchair.
Right? Like something I didn't know could happen.
Right? Like, it was mesmerizing to see those close-ups of his face and just his face twitching ever so slightly.
Right?
And not moving, except for a few ticks in his eye or something.
That was super impressive.
And just how dead and broken he looked.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and then you find out later the twist that it wasn't the case at all. Like, he was fully alive, fully cognitive, fully aware of everything, and it's like, oh wow, like that was impressive for sure. So
I enjoyed it. I really got a kick of how it all played together and how it tied things in. It was really cool to see the kid Dunn's son back.
Yeah, it was also they got the actual
same actor. Yeah. And sure, it would have been nice to be able to see maybe another movie with Dunn centric of accepting, because he kind of had accepted his.
But at the same time, that the character that he was, it was so much boring. In the shadow, right?
Yeah.
It could have been boring because it wasn't the traditional flashy superhero, right?
Yeah.
So then he did everything possible to stay out of the light and in the shadows feel, and
we didn't even talk to when he wasn't,
exactly. So I think it would have been a little bit blasé, but at the same time,
but I think that's why this film ended up working, because it caused him out of the shadows, which allowed something more crazy to happen.
Yeah.
Right. He actually was going up. It's like, you get so bored. You get so bored reading Batman comics where he just fights bank robbers.
Yeah.
You need a supervillain.
Exactly. You needed someone that could actually test him, right?
Exactly.
And that was the difference. And that's what Glass had actually said, is you need someone that will bring you to your full potential. You're only using, a tenth of your full potential.
Exactly.
So you need someone that will actually test you. And the Beast was that test. Someone who was so much of a force to be reckoned with.
Exactly.
He needed that foe. Exactly.
Yeah. And with this one, we got to see McAvoy portray even more personalities.
Yes, he had more of the ones that had been there, the idea I've documented, but you got to see even more of them. He was definitely the Beast more than anything else.
Yes.
I mean, it was the character for that one for sure.
Yeah, and it was interesting to see, because this one you get to see more of the Beast, and you really got to see the gorilla.
Yes.
The gorilla really came out.
You know what? That was one thing too that I think they did a good job of showing his physical change as well with him. How much more, like his traps, everything, he just bulked up, and the way he held his body was so different that he really did look like an animal. With that one. Which
That'd be
impressive.
that would be one I would love them to make a documentary on how they did that. Like how they did those scenes, because they did scenes where he didn't look his shirt was off and he didn't look as jacked, and then all of a sudden all his muscles are just popped,
right?
And I was
like,
there, it's like, I
want to know the filming of like, what did you do right before you shot that
like
scene?
how much, because he's also, when he's a beast, he's sweaty.
Yes.
So it's like, was there like a whole like trainer, everything?
Was he actually, working out right before
to get that pump that to be able to get that?
We've seen some of that stuff with like Thor and all the, the
Hugh
Marvel
Jackman
ones,
and stuff like that,
of what they try to do.
They talk about how they there's dumbbells on set, and if they've got a shirtless scene, they do a few reps to pump up their biceps.
Well, and then you got to wonder too, because like even with like Superman, we had read that he did so much of any of those ones where he is more shirtless scenes are filmed at the beginning of the movie,
exactly,
technically, and but this one was so much of it back and forth all over, and the filming sequence for that.
Yeah, it would have been hard to be.
But then with him, he switches back and forth during the movie so seamlessly sometimes, right? Because he always, as the Beast, always has his shirt off, you know. But you got to see different characters that were already there, and the switching between them, which was really interesting for sure. And sometimes he even switched even faster. Yeah. In Split, he almost would have to go off camera, and he would switch. And this one, he, you could see him kind of twitching, and you could see that internal torment in his head. And it's weird. They did such a good job of portraying how his head works with the personalities, with the light and the chairs. And the idea is like you could start visualizing what it would look like in his head. Yeah. Of all these different personalities sitting there. And because he did such a good job of portraying them and acting with them, you could see all their different ways they would dress and act sitting in these chairs and trying to grab this light. And then this time we actually got to see Kevin too, the actual real person, and have him show up. And I like how they brought those side characters in, Glass's mom, Dunn's son, Anna, getting to see them and how they balance off their characters and help them, almost a little bit of a sidekick. You always got to have that supporting character of each one of them, villain or hero.
What's interesting to see is that in this one here, I noticed with Anna coming back, it kind of showed a bit more of like the Beauty and the Beast feel. Yes. Which is a weird thought.
Yeah, it was an interesting story.
But it's not the love, it's the care
aspect. It's the compassion and the sympathy for shared trauma. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Being able... She appreciated that he let her go, and you can tell that as horrific of an experience as it was for her, obviously,
she just wants him to help.
Yeah, she saw how she knows how broken he is. Yeah. That it was not the doings of a well person, and he was not really trying to hurt her and being evil. Yeah. He was trying to be protective. He was trying to help the world in a broken, twisted way, for sure, right? Yeah. But yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't really have any complaints about the film. I really saw...
I like the psychological story.
Yeah, like it really played off.
Blended together. I like how
definitely going into it, it's not your stereotypical Marvel DC superhero film. No. So don't think you're getting a superhero film. Realize that you are getting a psychological drama that's built on 20 years.
It's still an M. Night movie.
of build up. So if you go in expecting there to be a giant action scene, you're going to be disappointed. Yeah. It's not that way. But the acting in it is fantastic from all of them. And McAvoy and Jackson give great performances, and it's worth a view.
Sarah Paulson too, with her portrayal of the Doctor. I like how she really did make you start questioning them, and really brought out that what if. Yep. You wanted to believe that they were special and different. You knew that the Beast was a product of a broken person. Yeah. But you want to believe that power that is really behind the mind idea, and then you wanted to believe that Dunn is truly unbreakable. Feel and he's strong, that, but is it now a question of an actual psychological power of his head that tells him that, or is it a real physiological change? And because I do believe in the power of our ability of our brain to change how we are, and say Split, that's exactly proof of it.
Well, I think we as people we don't realize how powerful our brain is, because mostly our brain does negative things to us.
Our brain does negative things to try to protect us.
Yeah.
And so say with like Split, right? It's that one almost is more believable because it was done out of a negative reaction to something to try to protect Kevin. And the idea was done. What was the point of it?
Yeah. Well, I think of that too, is the people that do have the drive and the determination to get super fit, and that can do it so naturally, too. There is the mental,
it's definitely
muscle, mind, and all that can make that happen. So it's not that far fetched
of what people could do,
right?
Exactly.
And you see what people can do with climbing, even like all the American Ninja Warrior stuff like that.
Yeah, any of those extreme acts of things.
So you put that, it's that perfect kind of combo. So I say definitely check it out.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely worthwhile, especially if you enjoy the films.
And it's got an awesome twist ending for sure.
Well, that's what we're going to dive into right now. I wanted to kind of cap it off a little bit.
Gotcha.
And then
so now
we're going to have some spoilers. So
I have to talk about
spoiler alert. Wah, 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 wah. It's your chance to pause it if you want. We're giving you that chance.
I don't know. I don't know when you're going to come back into the podcast.
Yeah, you can come back anytime.
Maybe for the last little bit. But okay, so spoiler alert here. Now,
spoiler alert. So the twist ending.
So Glass breaks them out.
Breaks them all out. You find out he's been pretending the entire time.
Yeah, and he's totally cognitive and awake, and splitting up his medicine and everything. So then, he gets out and he does this perfect plan to get out and onto the grounds of the hospital.
Yeah, so he gets out there because he wants the world to see them for what they are.
Yeah,
as super.
Yeah,
because he believes that, and that's where you get your action scene.
Well, because he wants Dunn to be able to be up against the Beast to show their full potential for both of them. Because the Beast has never had anyone that he's fought that he couldn't just snap in half. Yeah. So he would be even pushed to that brink as well. Right?
Exactly.
So he wants to be able to, under the pretense that you think he's going to some big, building unveiling. So then he's going to
because he's going to blow up the building.
Yes.
That's what he says. He's going to go do that. So we get our giant fight scene.
Yes, on the grounds of the hospital.
Yeah.
That was one thing that was cool with Kevin there. The Beast goes running across. He looks like a cheetah. Yeah. Like running, just like a cat. Yeah. Across there. That was really impressive to see.
To get his speed, right? Yeah. And that was interesting. We get to see Dunn break out of his cell with force. Yeah. Giant steel door. Yeah. And you get your fight, and then cops show up. And
it was a SWAT that's apparently, because Sarah Paulson calls, the doctor calls the SWAT team saying, okay, well, we can't stop them. We need to stop them. Okay, we need backup. So the SWAT shows up, riot police basically.
So you got, then you have,
they go into the water tank and they are fighting.
Yeah, well, before that, Dunn's son tells the Beast Glass's true plan.
Yes, we find out, that in the history, not true plan, but the connection between, that now you have a connection between Glass and Kevin. Because Kevin, was abused by his mom, that's why he broke.
And his father
had just up and disappeared, and his father was apparently trying to help him find a doctor to help treat him.
Because apparently he had that disorder early on that you didn't know about in Split.
Exactly. You find out that he was already kind of broken a bit, showing up. So then his father just disappeared, and that broke him even more.
Yeah, because apparently his mom never told him what really happened to his father.
Yeah, so what really happened, we find out, is Kevin's father was on the same train with Dunn. Yep. That you had, of course, found out in Unbreakable that Glass had blown up. Yep. So Glass actually killed Kevin's dad and helped create the Beast. Yep. Which was awesome to find that out.
And what was awesome was when Dunn's son tells him this, Samuel Jackson is just like, don't tell him that now, it's too early.
Yeah, it was like he had the
he
plot
knew
in
that.
his head.
He knew it too. So then he goes and he just starts cackling about how he is a creator and how he makes things.
Well, because then after that, the Beast attacks him and just completely shatters.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that sound effects in
They
there?
must have used some actual glass in there as well, because the theater sound on that was really cool. Just listening to him just crumble and break.
Yeah, he just is obviously obviously a mess of broken.
Hits his legs and then he hits his stomach.
So then he's laying there just obviously bleeding to death inside and just going off about how much of a mastermind he is and created everything, and he just sounds so crazy.
And that was really awesome. And that's when then Beast takes Dunn into the water tank.
Yeah, and the water tank trying to take Dunn out with that.
Yeah.
So then, but he ends up actually breaking the tank itself and they spill out. So then the SWAT shows up.
So then you got all of them. Beast goes take off. Anna shows up to try to calm the Beast by bringing
she pulls Kevin back.
And then all of a sudden you hear...
Yeah, and the SWAT just shoots Kevin right in the stomach.
Yeah.
It was so sad. Like, I was so heartbroken, and you feel like you want to stop the Beast, but you just want to stop the Beast. You don't want to stop Kevin.
Yeah.
Because now they just shot someone who's scared and sad and
doesn't know what year it is.
Happened, and I'm like, oh my God, that's so horrible.
Yeah. And you get to watch all his personalities die.
Yeah. Oh, it was.
And that was a trippy scene to see, because he switches between them, each of them like kind of like calling to be out, and then till finally Kevin takes his light, and then he dies in her arms, and
that was heartbreaking. It makes me a little well up right here talking about it. And then over here with Dunn,
his son's, he's weak, he's got water in him, he needs help, and blah blah.
There's this puddle,
and then the SWAT grabs him, drags him over to the puddle.
And just
drowns him.
And they
fucking drown him in a puddle.
And that was when it was the holy shit, something's wrong.
Yes.
Something is weird, because why would they have done that? I can understand shooting Kevin, honestly, because it was, it sounds funny, but he was actually attacking things, right? Dunn wasn't to the point where he was being forceful or hostile towards anyone.
Yeah, well, Paulson's character initially said that if he hadn't gone after the Beast, they would have left him alone.
So I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on?
Well, then you start to see, you say that the SWAT guy that shoots Kevin,
he has a tattoo.
He has a clover leaf on his wrist.
Yeah.
Or a spade or something.
It's some sort of
club.
It looks like a club, like a clover leaf field.
And then the guy that drowns Dunn has the same thing. Well, then from that, you have Sarah Paulson's doctors asking Dunn to grab her hand.
Yes.
But then you cut over to Glass and you see him, and his mom's like, well, is this the limited edition? Because he'd always talked about how there was going to be a big showdown and the reveal and all that. And he starts cackling about how, no, this is an origin story.
Yeah, didn't you know? And I was like, what the hell does he know about? Like,
and then you've done touches Paulson before he's dead, and
he sees them all sitting in some secret society meeting.
Yep.
And they all have this tattoo, and we're all like, what the fuck? Like, there's some secret shadowy organization.
Yeah.
And so then you find out that, what she says, 10,000 years they've been there to take down people with special abilities.
Yeah.
Because everywhere that there is a negative, there shows up a positive
or if
aspect.
There's a positive, there's a negative.
They always show up as pairs.
Yeah.
And that they have to take them out. And she was trying
to keep the balance.
She was trying to convince them that they were not super, so that they wouldn't have to hurt it. And that's why she was saying 3 days. They only have 3 days. Well, like, that doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. Why would they only have 3 days to help say it was 3 days, or they were going to be eliminated?
Yeah.
And that was it, right? And I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
So
I thought that was an excellent twist. It was heart-wrenching to watch.
Yes.
Because as much as like Infinity War snapped out half the world, we know there's a next one that's going to bring some back, and some might die, but most of the newer ones are going to come back.
They're gone. Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of audiences that are angry about that, because we're not used to seeing an unhappy ending, because it was not a happy ending to the film.
No, not
even
really.
The conclusion where the three kind of sidekicks end up getting that file from Glass.
Well, yeah, because you find out because you think that all the videos are being deleted.
Yeah.
But she had put all these cameras in to record everything.
Yeah.
Well, Glass had gone back through and was streaming it out. So he had all the film footage, and he sent it off to his mom and Dunn's son, and Anna. And so then they released it. So the world still got all this film footage, even though they had tried to keep it under wraps.
Yeah.
And that was Glass's ultimate plan.
That was his limited edition.
He was never meant to go to that building and blow it up. He was, everything that his plan was to just have the showdown at the hospital.
Yeah.
And have the film footage, and that was it. So that was a really cool twist.
And I think it was amazing, because it was so real.
Yeah.
But it was just so, Like at first, when I first saw it, I was a little frustrated. I was like, "You gotta be kidding me! They can't do this!" Like,
Right.
I understood the Beast. I got the Beast. I understand Glass, but we're so used to the hero winning.
Yeah, we expected Dunn to be able to live and be fine.
Yeah, but
because
then
we think, well, that's all we ever try to eliminate is the bad guy. But with this society is always tried to eliminate the pair of them.
Yeah, it's the yin and yang.
The idea that anything, if there is someone super strong, it will attract someone who is their challenger, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Right.
And and I think the way that they got rid of Dunn was so ungraceful.
It was so brutal.
It was like he didn't go in a blaze of glory.
No.
He was sitting there coughing and sputtering, and then
really
they
was
just
his weakness.
It was his
water.
kryptonite.
Yeah.
And they drown him.
Yeah.
It was just like
it would have been almost more satisfying if he'd been taken down by the Beast, but it wouldn't have made sense.
It wouldn't have made sense to the film, the style of film, right? Because the focus is always that he cannot be hurt unless he's with water.
Yeah.
And it was just like...
Well, and it's also, too, it's a really hard... We are, I think, as humans, normally scared of drowning, of course, but the idea that something can be... It is so scary because... to take someone who is so strong, who can't be sick, who can't do all of this sort of stuff, and then in such a relatively simplistic way be completely taken out, it really is like Superman. You bring a green rock by him and all of a sudden he's powerless.
And you can do whatever you want to him.
And it's such an extreme version of it. But that is an alien. To see it as a human being that we can actually almost... think that we could actually be that way. And it's like, holy crap, that was just thrown. Right. His life was just thrown aside because of water. And he was doing so much good too. You feel like you wanted him to survive, and it was really gut wrenching to see that. Right.
Water plays a very key element almost in all M. Night's films, though, with Signs and Lady in the Water and all those things. Like,
it must really, resonate.
I think he's scared of it.
Probably. I guess that would make sense, huh?
That'd be a question to want to ask. Like, is there a reason?
Real fear?
Yeah, are you scared of the water? Because there's a lot of underlying ideas in your movie that water is dangerous.
Yeah,
right.
That makes sense. But yeah, overall, just absolutely. But yeah, I really enjoyed the movie.
But yeah,
I think it was a really satisfying, albeit emotionally turmoil and depressing, but satisfying end to that as a story.
And I think that's something too. Because the thing's so old and we finally got a sequel and all that we expected it to just keep going. Yeah. Because that's what Marvel and DC are starting to teach us, is that the movies will keep going. Yeah. And this was him coming in and being like, well, this is my world. This is my sandbox. Yeah. This is my creativity. This is my thought process. And it's ending. Yeah. Yes, it could go on. They could do something else with it, but I don't think he will. You know what's interesting? When Glass had first said there was an origin story, I was wondering if maybe there's going to be something would show up in his son, Dunn's son, because he would want to. Yeah. He looks so desperately like he wants to have something, and every time you would see him, it's like, okay, is something going to click? Yeah. And it's some sort of traumatic event, honestly, going to trigger something to change his head, and it could be that way. Yeah. But it never did show that. Well, that's why when he's looking at those comics, he's trying to find something. And then when he went to the villain section and he picked up that Mr. The mind, his parents and thing and all that. Yeah. And I was like, wait a minute, like, is he going to turn to a villain? That's what I would. That's what I thought. Sort of yeah. But then you realize that comic was all about Mr. Glass. Yeah. And the connection to the mastermind feel and all that. And you're just like, what? So it's like they keep giving these little hints on things, right? And then, then it did have that real life feel of like it didn't pass on, right? Because by now he probably would have figured that out, type thing. But the one thing that was cool about him though was that it was the best we're ever gonna see, I think, of Batman and Robin together. Yeah. Or Batman and Oracle. Yeah. Right? Because that idea where he was the best Oracle that's ever been on screen. Yeah, he was in his ear. He was there talking to him. He was giving him advice, telling him to calm down, to slow down. You're giving him the you shouldn't be doing that choice right there. Yeah, and I say he was the best Robin that we've seen, really. Yeah, that's interacted with a Batman. Yeah, right. We haven't had that because they cared about each other and they respected each other. Yes, Dunn went off and did his own thing when he needed to, but it was interesting because I was watching it. I was like, this is awesome. Like I could see all the parallels between DC in this movie, Superman, but also like when I was watching when they got put in the asylum, it was like one of those Elseworld stories or those stories where Batman finally gets arrested and put in Arkham.
Yeah.
And then he's got to sit beside the Joker and whoever else and go through therapy and all that. Like, I thought it was really cool. But yeah, I got a kick out of it. I for someone that maybe only watched Glass, only watched Split, I could see it being weird.
Well, yeah, because you wouldn't know anything about Dunn or care about
Glass.
him, really, and then you wouldn't know about Glass as well, and his psychosis, quite honestly, and his history behind it, right?
And I really think that was a flaw for Disney to not have given them Unbreakable to allow them to stream it somewhere.
Disney?
Well, because Disney... Touchstone Pictures is what made
it's
Unbreakable.
Touchstone. Okay, that's
right.
Why.
And then why
is Disney coming to this conversation?
Yeah, well, because it took so long for them to get the rights back.
They needed to make it more accessible right now, so that
there wasn't even a release.
We have it on DVD, so then that's why we could watch it again.
Yeah,
but if you
there
can't
should have been an Unbreakable release.
Yeah,
and
it would have been like, that's weird. Why is this coming out? Because you should watch it, and definitely, because then it would have been the idea that I watched Split. This guy showed up.
Yeah.
At the end
of
this movie. How do I match that? And then...
Because I remember when we saw Split, everyone brought up their phones.
They were like, who is this?
Yeah, and the guy in front of me literally like, who is in the end of Split?
You know what? Honestly, I don't remember. Had I watched Unbreakable when we watched Split? I don't remember.
Yeah, you had.
I had? Okay.
Would have been years before.
Okay, it would have been. Because, I didn't have that same connection.
It's one of those movies like, I love it, but it's one of those ones where I don't need to watch it every year. It's like an every 5 year film.
But might have to watch it more now because now it's got this awesome world set.
But yeah, totally. Definitely check it out. Worthwhile.
Yeah, I know. We just now we have the spoilers up.
So the spoilers have ended.
Now we're gonna jump back into something else.
And this is the end. The end of this episode. I really don't have
This is the end.
Yeah, the end, my friend. No, this isn't the end of Cup of Rad, though. This is just the end of this episode. So we got to have a lot of fun with you guys this week because we shared a lot of information with you, which is always fun to do. We got a lot of things coming up in the next few weeks. What you need to do, if you haven't already done it, it should still be going on, but our Versus bracket is happening over on our Facebook page.
Yes.
And that
make
is
sure if
really
it's still going on, make sure you vote.
Yeah, because every day we're going to have a couple characters, heroes and villains, face off each other. We're 4 or 5 rounds in right now, but it's going for a full 160. I don't know, but it's going for a while.
Oh no, you've held that one. Now it's gonna be 160. We're gonna get down to bottom of the barrel characters, things that you've I have to pull up in that encyclopedia because I've never heard of that character before.
Now I gotta figure that out. I gotta find that encyclopedia. Okay, but
you know what we should do? Our son would probably really love, and it would probably be a contention, is a Pokemon bracket.
Pokemon bracket, yeah, we could do that.
That could be fun.
Yeah, well, maybe
we're totally blindly guessing because we don't know their battling versions of them, but
but that comes down to, if anything, it comes down to fan favorites and what you like. But that would be something to do closer to May.
Yeah, it'd be fun for
Detective Pikachu. Boom.
Which I'm, again, really excited for that movie. Anyways.
But yeah, head over to Facebook, find us, we're Cup of Rad, and vote because we got DC versus Marvel, hero and villain. It's going to all break down once those first bouts go. It's going to come down to then those brackets, so it could be Marvel versus Marvel, DC versus DC.
Yeah, we'll have to find out what happens.
And then eventually it's going to come down, all the villains are going to stay fighting each other, all the heroes are going to fight each other, and at the end it'll be the final villain versus the final hero.
Dun dun dun.
So it'll be curious to see who goes up against who by the time we're all said and done.
Yes.
So it's like the Stanley Cup of comic book
characters.
Maybe we'll have to make a little cup. If we own that figure, they can hold the cup up at the end.
There you go.
That's what we do.
You can create a picture of some sort, right?
Yeah, right.
That'd be good.
Because, but for my American friends, if you don't know what the Stanley Cup is, it's a hockey trophy.
Dude, okay. For our non-hockey fans.
Oh, wait, no. Canadian truths. The Stanley Cup is the manliest cup that is meant to drink beer from, and only the burliest, biggest men can drink from it. And it gives you ultimate hockey powers. It's the Infinity Gauntlet of hockey.
That was fantastic. Thank you. We almost forgot about our Canadian Truth segment, so...
Thank you, Adam. The more you know. Sparkles. But here we are at the end of our podcast for another week. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you all have a fantastic, marvelous day.
Thank you for listening. Love this episode of Cup of Rad? Please subscribe, rate us, and give us a review. Also, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more rad content.